Large banks, when they get into trouble, they're going to be bailed out by the government, which means by your tax dollars and mine. Congress always rushes in and says, yes, we can't allow those bad things to happen to the people. And so they vote the money to guarantee the loans or make outright payments in some very creative fashions so that the interest can continue flowing to the banks.
In February 1995, the Clinton administration proposed sweeping changes in the nation's banking system. It would repeal several federal restrictions, including the Depression-era Glass-Steagall Act, which forbids banks from underwriting securities or selling insurance.
Dr. Greenspan, I want to start with you. You were the longest-serving chairman of the Federal Reserve in history, and during this period of time, you were perhaps the leading proponent of deregulation of our financial markets.
During Greenspan's reign, the financial sector would double its share of the economy. Companies that once sold products would now sell loans, and firms that had once worked in service to their clients would now make enormous profits trading for themselves, engineering ever more exotic financial products like derivatives, which, unlike traditional assets, were bought and sold in secret, left completely unregulated.
Mr. Greenspan, I have long been concerned that you are way out of touch with the needs of the middle class and working families of our country.
Alan Greenspan's function in life is to represent the wealthiest people in our society and the largest corporations.
According to a team at Bloomberg News, the U.S. had lent, spent, or guaranteed as much as $12.8 trillion to rescue the economy. That's trillion with a T. The Bloomberg reporters have been following that money. Bob Ivry.
You have the most powerful institutions in America lending and guaranteeing trillions of taxpayer money and not telling us why or how or where or who's getting it.
The Bush administration and the Obama administration did not want to give this information over as to how much they had helped the banks. The great injustice of the banks getting huge payouts. If you look at Bank of America, they got $45 billion in TARP money, but they got $91.4 billion from the Fed. Citigroup, $45 billion from TARP, but $99.5 billion from the Fed. They actually got twice as much money from the Federal Reserve that they got from the Treasury. So they want you to look at the Treasury money. They don't want you to look at the Fed money because that's where the real action is. Just the top 6 big banks, which are the best politically connected ones, well, they got $160 billion from TARP, but they got $460 billion from the Fed. They got 63% of the money. So if you're politically connected, you got 63% of the booty. This crash that they started, that they caused, didn't hurt them at all. It wound up helping them. Why? Because they captured the government. Those loans, in fact, wound up making them billions of dollars in free money. And we get nothing.
3 out of the 4 largest financial institutions are nearly 80% bigger than before we bailed them out because they were too big to fail.
Solution. We need to reinstate the banking laws recently lobbied away that prevent the banks from taking advantage of the American citizens' money.